Welcome inside our OneSoccer studio. Andy Petrillo alongside Oliver Platt. If you heard that noise, that was my mic pack falling. Can't really ignore that as I tuck that behind me.
Out with a bang.
Whoops, 4-0. Hey, there you go. 4-0 victory for the Canadians. You said it in the pregame show, Ollie, that these types of opponents, 76th ranked Morocco, you just want to see them take care of business, and they did just that.
Yeah, and I think the big story coming out of this game is Evelyn Vienne. She's a player who we wanted to see her, carry her club form over to the national team, and she did it in style. This is a really good performance from her. Aggressive pressing in the when you don't have the ball to create the goal here. A couple of assists. We'll see the one for Larissa later on as well. And then this finish on the second goal, I think, is a really difficult header. The way she just kind of angles her body and is able to direct this into the far corner. That's a really well taken goal. And then you see, just continuing to be involved throughout the game, getting another chance late in the game as well to go in on goal. So we wanted to see her carry that club form, like I said. She's done that. She's absolutely earned an opportunity now to go up against stronger opponents and prove she can be, a more full-time member of the starting lineup.
Well, and that's just it, right? You want to see her against stronger opponents. You feel she's earned that. Yeah,
100%. You have to after these two games. It's still a position that's open for Canada for competition, and she's absolutely earned a longer look.
Well, much like Caitlin Sheridan against Argentina, I wouldn't exactly say Sabrina D'Angelo was busy in this one, but we did get an all-state save of the match because, Morocco did have some moments there, especially in the first half and then early on in the second half as we take you to the 48th minute. A little bit of sloppy play here from the Canadians leads to a turnover, and D'Angelo does have to make a save. Yeah, most of the problems, and there weren't many, were Canada kind of being the architects of their own downfall. We highlighted some of the build-up play at halftime, which can certainly get better. That's something they're going to want to look at. But this is a good save from Sabrina D'Angelo. You'd expect her to make it from that distance, but she does so well, pushes it to safety. And overall, like I said, it was only really when Canada were making mistakes themselves that they were troubled. Defensively, very, very strong again for the most part, and that's something you can always rely on with this team. All right, we're going to be breaking this game down a little bit more. Amy Walsh is going to join us next, but be sure to join us as well next weekend as we have the first leg of the semifinals in the Canadian Premier League. Cavalry will take on Forge first at 4 p.m., followed by Pacific and Ottawa at 7 p.m. I didn't even have Thanksgiving dinner yet. How are my pants? Popping my microphone pack off already. I am in trouble. A 4-0 victory for Canada over Morocco on this Thanksgiving morning. More coming up on OneSoccer.
Fun. Intelligence. Drive. They run in the family. Corolla.
A new era for Canadian soccer begins today. Experience the emotion of every match. Watch all the highlights, the breaking news, the best debates, and analysis, and all the information about the Canadian stars playing abroad. Get access to the best of Canadian soccer from any device. Join the new dawn of an unstoppable game. See the rise on OneSoccer.ca.
Thank you, Canada, for making dreams come true. We're with you all the way.
For life's transitions, working from home, and even small businesses, life gets better when you have space. With no long-term contracts or leases, get the size you need. First 4 weeks free. Access Storage, proud partner of Canada Soccer and the women's national team.
Every CPL season, there is one season that matters most. Playoff season. Who is in? Who is out? Watch the CPL playoff season unfold on OneSoccer.
You're still watching Match Day Live. Andy and Ollie in studio. Joining us now, Amy Walsh, former national team player, as Canada picks up the 4-0 victory here over Morocco. Amy taking care of business, and they open things up in the 24th minute here. Jessie Fleming, who now ties the great Diana Matheson for 10th all-time in scoring. She is, the heir apparent here for Diana Matheson. So she continues to look good in her position. What did you see in goal number 1?
Well, I think Ollie talked about Viens and how she was the out-and-out star in this match. And so she's the architect of it here. Good anticipation to break up that poor ball by the Moroccan goalkeeper. And then I think, I don't know if it was you guys at halftime that said, if you want somebody to have the ball at their feet at the top of the 18, you probably want it to be Jessie Fleming, because the composure that Viens shows to get it back or cut it back to Fleming is fabulous. But Fleming there, just the composure, the calmness, and the ability to slot it home there. We've seen that over and over with her at Chelsea, and to see it now repeated with Canada is incredible. So yeah, we've talked about the similarities with she and Diana Matheson, and what a storied career Dee had, but Fleming's only just getting started, and she's still a young woman. So a lot more to come from Fleming. That's
the thing. How old is Fleming now? She's already top 10 all time in goal scoring and tying Diana Matheson. Like, it's absolutely incredible what the potential is with this player. I shouldn't even say potential at this point because she's a proven player at the top level with Chelsea, but like, there's still runway in front of her. It's remarkable.
I just call her the babyface assassin because she looks like she's 15, forever 15. You know, and you're right. We also feel like she's been part of this national team forever, but she's still so young in her early 20s. But let's take a look at goal number 2. And yes, we've already waxed poetic about Evelyn Viens, but also Chloe Lacasse, who picked up a goal against Argentina, also played a factor in this one, Amy.
She did. I think the pitch balance by Canada wasn't what they would have wanted in the first half. So I think we're seeing this first goal again, and Viens and how well she did there. But I think Lacasse and Leon, in kind of those wing positions in that 4-2-3-1, were hiding a little bit, and Canada were unable to exploit the spaces and the gaps in the Moroccan team shape. But I think you see in the second half, you see Lacasse exploiting that a little bit more, and it's her driving to the net and that play in that left channel that leads to the corner kick that creates, here we go, that creates the goal or the second goal. And again, you're seeing great play by Sophie Schmidt. We talked about that veteran presence in there, but Lacasse, her willingness to drive to that byline and earn that corner kick is what puts it on a platter here, and a really great play by Schmidt to sort of stop on the ball, recognize what's happening, and the overloaded numbers that Canada have at the back post prior to her getting close to the ball is what enables her to have the time and the space to play that ball in. And Ollie already talked about the ability and the aerial dominance there by Viens, but that's not an easy thing to do there, to just put that glancing header into that far post when the ball's coming from the right-hand side to go to the left-hand corner. So all credit to her for the finish, but a great play by Schmidt and great initiative by Lacasse to create it.
Yeah, really good finish. I think with Lacasse and Larissi, there's still room for improvement in their final action at times, but I like the pace they give you, just the out-and-out kind of speed, the ability one-on-one to go at players. You saw it from Lacasse there. It gives Canada a different dimension, I think, in the wide areas when those two are on the pitch.
Oh, we're going to talk Larissi in just a moment because she got goal number 4. But we saw Sophie Schmidt there putting the ball back in play. And she also, played a role. Janine Becky, this is a nice 3-0 cushion here for the Canadians, Amy. And once again, she has the ability to finish, but it's always about the build-up because, Ollie, you did highlight in that first half. The Canadians are struggling a little bit here in the build-up. But what did you make of this one, Amy?
Well, I think Awujo as well and Prince were dynamic with the ball. But again, that first time ball and the awareness and the vision by Schmidt to play that first time, again, grants Becky the time to, that she has there to let it run across her body, have it on her right foot, but then ultimately finish it with her left foot across the face of goal. That's all Schmidt there, and her ability to get it over to Becky to give her that time. And, I think that's her 216th appearance, vision, awareness, experience I already talked about, but a resurgent season for her at Houston. And the ability and what you're able to get from your club showing and your club experience and the confidence that gives you once you join your national team. So, you know, the club environments and long gone are the days where you look down that Canadian roster and you saw unattached. So lots of great players and performances in the NWSL this year that we're seeing translated onto the international scene. And
in a good way, you see that internal competition. You see a lot of the younger players or new faces pushing the old guard a little bit, right? We just witnessed that even on the men's team with Junior Hoylett. Right? Like, this is somebody who even admitted, suddenly you see a little Davies and David running around. You're like, oh, wait a second, right? And you kind of pick up your game, and it motivates you to want to hit a certain level. And you're right. Like, Sophie Schmidt, she also had, you know, the CONCACAF, the W championship there in qualifying for the World Cup. You know, she scored a goal, and that looked good. I mean, these are players now who are just motivating each other. Yeah, more competition than ever before, I think, with this roster. I got to say, I got to highlight on that goal. I love Awujo again on that play. Like, just the ability under pressure there, when you've got pressure on you, to make the right decision, you know, to be aware of what's around you. Like, there are young players in that situation who would just kind of panic and, you know, send the ball anywhere, put it in the box, do whatever with it. She has the composure to just take a moment, see her options, play that pass to the left-hand side, which just totally opens up the pitch. Really good play by Schmidt then, as Amy said. And yeah, that's a player that still has a role to play, Sophie Schmidt. Clarissa Larisi, there's another name for you at home to get to know. And if you're thinking, who is that? It's okay, because she only made her senior debut last month when they had those 2 games against Australia. But Amy, she gets her first goal here for country. And again, I guess I'm just saying it right there. Another name to get to know on this team when we're discussing depth. Yeah, and before I get into the profile that she brings and the characteristics of her play and the pace exhibited in this highlight, and again, a great play by Vienne. It was a complete game by her. But this is the play that Larisi has shown at Celtic, and we talked about Lacasse scoring prolifically for club. Larisi is doing the same in the Women's Scottish Premier League. But I think what Canada now, to zoom out a little bit, the unique profiles that are at Bev Priestman's disposal are really incredible. Again, going back to that depth. But you look at a Leon and how, you know, we talked about her abilities to go 1v1, but to create stuff and really just have a nose for the net. Vienne coming on. Obviously, we haven't talked about Christine Sinclair, what Lacasse brings, Becky when she's pushing up higher, Jordan Huitema and her play at Reign and the way that she's more sophisticated in the box with her runs, developing partnerships. Again, I mentioned with Leon, but also just 2 players there with Vienne and Huitema to have that out-and-out number 9 in that 4-2-3-1. So I think just the unique capabilities and characteristics of these different strikers just gives Canada so much at their disposal so they can be fluid tactically and dangerous and give opponents something to fear. Yeah, Larisi just gives you, I think, pure speed that I don't think anyone else on the team really has. You know, there's quick players in the team, but, you know, the way she goes on that goal, just in a straight line run, like, that's real pace. And that gives you a different option, I think. Like I said, there's still room to improve and room to work on the end product at times with her, but I just think that pace is a real weapon that you can certainly work with and build from. So 4 wins in a row now for the Canadians. You know, you take into consideration the 2 games against Australia, the 2-0 win against Argentina, now 4-0 here against Morocco. And we talked earlier, Amy, about the Canadians using this window to their advantage, and Bev Priestman trying new things, trying new players. But bottom line is you have Argentina, who's ranked 31st, and you have Morocco, who's ranked 76th. We looked at potential key dates for the Canadians. They could be playing some more games in November. Ideally, what kind of opponents do you want to see them taking on? What do you think will really test them? Well, I think with a 32-team World Cup, you're bound to be up against a European powerhouse. So I would really like to see Canada up against opponents like the ones they faced at the Arnold Clark Cup and really test themselves. So in their winning schedule so far this season, or you look at their record and how well they've done, they've only lost to the U.S. and to Spain. So I'd like to see themselves compare themselves. I mean, Bev Priestman has talked about a tier 1 opponent, hopefully on the docket for the next window, but that's the type of preparation that they need. So these 2 opponents in Argentina and Morocco, fabulous for all the reasons we listed, but especially getting valuable minutes for players who are going to round out the roster. But now let's test Canada's best 11 against a team that's one of the best in the world. Yeah, and to your point about the 2 losses in this calendar year, they were just by 1 goal, like 1-0 to Spain at the Arnold Clark Cup, 1-0 to the United States in that final at the CONCACAF W Championship. So, you know, when you're trying to test yourself against the best, where do you measure up? Yeah, they were losses, but the more games you play like that, the more you realize what it is you need against them.
You learn. I'd love to see, you know, Sweden, Netherlands, France, teams they didn't play at the Arnold Clark Cup, top European teams. Like Amy said, Brazil, even from South America, will be great as well. These are the kinds of opponents we need to see Canada play now. They're the lessons they need to learn. You know, this was a necessary exercise, I think, in terms of weaker opponents, but now it's time to really prepare for the World Cup with the big teams you're going to have to beat to win the tournament.
So we know that the 2023 World Cup, jointly hosted by New Zealand and Australia, will kick off in July of next season, so July 20th. And after this window, we have the opportunity to see the Canadians again in November, then February, and then April, and then right before the World Cup as well. That will be in July. So plenty of opportunities here for this Canadian group to really gel and get together. Now, I want to get your thoughts on this, Amy, because we had a chance to talk about it at halftime, kind of putting you on the spot a little bit. But, you know, when you look at this squad, and as much as we're pulling the positives, does it also make you think they are missing Christine St. Clair? Like, where do you still see that? Where do you see positions where you would like to see some improvement? In this window, what positions kind of made you go, huh, that's a good little challenge there? Like, who rose to the occasion?
Well, I think the fullbacks did very well for Canada. They were pushing high. I would have liked to have seen the center backs, no matter what pairings we were seeing, be a little bit more probing, draw players in, especially against Morocco, that set up a little bit higher than Argentina did. And then Becky in that 10 position, I did not like. You could see her comfort level really rise, and you got more production and quality out of her in that channel space. So I think that answers some questions for Bev Priestman. But I think you bring Christine St. Clair back into this lineup, and you really have a depth in this squad and a really dangerous attack. So some balls today and some indecision by Canada, those are going to be in the back of the net against the tier 1 opponents. So, you know, they win 4-0 today, but they were productive and they were on the attack in fits and starts. There was a lack of fluidity in there, but I think they have the potential to do it and really keep things ticking. But I think you look at that schedule, Andy, and just to add to it, all of the injuries that Canada has presently, you hope that doesn't start to add up, because this is a really heavy and heady schedule for these players who have Champions League perhaps that they're entering. They have their club play. NWSL is winding to a close, but you hope that players are able to get the physio and the rest and the support that they need so they can stay healthy for next summer.
Yeah, because everyone's on a different schedule. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the NWSL will have their playoffs until the end of the month, and then they're free and clear, and you can take, you know, complete advantage of them being able to play. But in Europe, a lot of them are right in the thick of it now. Yeah,
it's tough to handle. I think you want to see players playing for their club story, right? That's the most important thing. And we're getting that with Canada right now, and it's creating, like we've said, some really good competition in this squad. So it's a good thing. But yeah, tough decisions for Bev Priestman to make.
And you just mentioned the center backs, which also then kind of goes, oh, Vanessa Gilles, right? Not seeing her either because of injury. And she has really established herself alongside Kadisha Buchanan. Even though Bev Priestman has options, you kind of look and go, oh, maybe that is the pair that you like to see in the center back.
Interesting question now.
Yeah, I know, exactly, right? So it kind of makes you go, that's for sure. Amy, always appreciate your insight here. Amy Welch joining us for Canada with the 2-0 win over Argentina, and today with the 4-0 win over Morocco. Once again, this is the Evelyn Vienne show. Looked great in Game 1 and looking even better here, Game 2. A lot of thinking for Bev Priestman to do when it comes to who is actually her best starting.
There is something quite magical about heading into a new destination. A journey into the unknown. Not alone, but together, as a country, as a sport, ready to soar. We are Canada, and this is our sport. This is our time.
Every CPL season, there is one season that matters most. Playoff season. Who is in? Who is out? Watch the CPL playoff season unfold on OneSoccer.
fun, intelligence, drive. They run in the family. Corolla.
A new era for Canadian soccer begins today. Experience the emotion of every match. Watch all the highlights, the breaking news, the best debates, and analysis. And all the information about the Canadian stars playing abroad. Get access to the best of Canadian soccer from any device. Join the new dawn of an unstoppable game. See the rise on OneSoccer.ca.
Full-time Stats brought to you by Toyota. Jesse Fleming, Evelyn Vienne, Janine Becky, and Clarissa Larisi scoring the goals for Canada on this day. 73% possession, really taking it to Morocco in this one, building the confidence for the Canadians. And a lot of what we've discussed about the options and the depth for Canada. And we see this across soccer in general. You have that in your midfield. You have that in your forward line. But usually your defense, Ollie, is tried and true.
Yeah.
And that's who you want to stay with. So let's look at the center backs right now, because even Bev Priestman had said, it's not like Shalina Zadorsky did anything wrong.
No, that's
right? But Vanessa Gilles has really stood out.
It's a really interesting question, I think, because you're right. Zadorsky didn't do anything wrong, but Gilles was just so good that she took her spot. Buchanan's always been a lock, I think, in the other position. And now you have Jade Rose coming in as well. So now I think there's a really interesting potential competition there. I don't think anyone is potentially safe anymore, as much as Buchanan is the star player, one of the star players of this team. I think she's got to play well too, to keep her place in this side. I don't think it's automatic anymore when you talk about how good Rose looks. Okay, maybe it's too soon next year's World Cup for Rose to really be that starter. But Zadorsky's there, Gilles is going to come back in. Like, I think everyone there is going to have to perform and compete to keep their spot, and no one is really invincible because it is such a strong group for Canada now that Bev Priestman has to choose from.
And they've always taken pride in being strong defensively,
it's still
right?
going to be the key identity of this team at the World Cup. We can talk all about the attacking play, but they need to shut things down, keep clean sheets if they're going to win a major tournament again.
Back-to-back clean sheets here in this window for the Canadians. Appreciate all of you tuning in to watch these games, especially on this Thanksgiving Monday. The Canadians giving you some early pumpkin pie. That's right. Who said you can't have dessert before your turkey? 4-0 win for them over Morocco. On behalf of everyone here, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. The 2022 Canadian Championship Final.